us from around the world. This is Talks They Teach, where ideas are not just discussed, they are transformed into action. Today's conversation is not just about success, it's about three P's: pursuit, it's about pain, it's about purpose. Because here is the truth: many people run, but very few run with their directions. Many people face challenges, but very few truly face them. And that brings us to today's theme: run the team, face the dark, lead the way. I'm honored to welcome our guest, David Park, a coach, a leader, an author whose journey is not built on theory but on lived experience. Through his book Focal Point, he takes us from discipline to adversity to leadership that is earned, not claimed. David, welcome to Talks That Teach.
Well, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. I really am.
David, before we step into our today's theme, I would like to ask one question. What inspired you to write this wonderful book, Focal Point, at this stage of your life?
Honestly, as I was going through in coaching and I was blessed to have a lot of successes, uh, when I got cancer, that kind of changed the way you think about things. And so, what I in turn did was I started the book more of a legacy piece that I wanted to share things that thoughts that I'd accumulated over the last 40, 42 years. And I wanted to share those with everybody. And if they could learn one thing, that maybe I could shorten their learning curve, then I was thrilled to do it.
Right, wonderful. That you can see the challenge of your life. That was the cancer changed you in a very different way. Now you are quite a different man. Before cancer and after cancer, David is a quite changed. Can
Yes,
I
yes.
be
I you hit that on the head, sir.
a That's wonderful. In your book Focal Point, when I was just flipping through the pages, I saw one thing: a life designed, not you can say drifted. It takes us into life of discipline, a life where your days were not random, they were disciplined. We see intention, we see structure, we see a man aligned with life, with the pursuit. And when a life is designed like that, one question comes to my mind naturally: where do most people lose the race? In clarity, commitment, or discipline? What is that?
I think honestly that I don't think they lack clarity as much. If if they're really honest with themselves, they'll have clarity. But the commitment and the discipline is where most people tend to uh, fall off the wagon, so to speak. You know, at New Year's in America, everybody makes New Year's resolutions. Okay, I'm going to lose weight, or I'm going to eat right, or I'm going to do this. They have clarity what they want to do. The problem is when the motivation wanes, and everybody's going to be motivated at first, but that's only going to last a little while. You've got to build in the discipline and the commitment to go through the grind of those things. And you've got to know it's coming. And so I look at discipline and commitment as very dear friends. I mean, they're almost siblings. They those two go together, and you really need the discipline and the commitment. And just know the journey's not always going to be easy. You know,
Right. That's wonderful. People have clarity just as you on every new year they make resolutions you mentioned over here. They lack their discipline and commitment. That's wonderful. And they miss their you can say their resolutions, even what they have made. That's clear. That's everything is clear. David, you say in your book, and I phrase it in a that you must have the right frame of mind to chase your focal point.
yes,
You say, let me, you can say, you clear what you mean by focal point first. And later on, you must have the right frame of mind. Elaborate these two things here.
yes. The title focal point and the drawing of the bullseye, so to speak, is how I constructed kind of my um, I want to put this my life goals and integrated it together with my career goals and everything. But you've got to have the proper uh, proportions. In other words, I'll use my teams for an example. I always told my teams I want the center of their focal point not to be the team. I wanted the center of their focal point to be their God, whoever that may be. I mean, I've coached kids of multiple religions, and I didn't try to change them to mine. I just said that needs to be your center. And then the ring right outside of that is their family. Okay, you got to be true to your family. And then the third ring, even though I wanted it to be our team, they were sent to school to get an education. And so the third ring had to be their studies. And then my team, our team, came number four. And we even had a statement we just want to be number four. And what I had to deal with the kids on was number four has to stay there. For an example, that's one reason we worked out so early in the morning. We did not want doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, things like that to get in the way. But if a kid, came to me and said, Coach, I had to miss this morning because I had an English assignment due. And I always would say, well, you worked on it last night and you didn't finish? And I had one in particular tell me, well, no, Coach, I went to a concert last night. And I said, so what you really are telling me is you traded us for the concert. And so we weren't no longer four. Well, that's something the teenagers could understand. And as long as we were number four, we were going to be successful and we were going to win. But you've got to keep your priorities in order. You can't, if you move one where it doesn't belong, you're not going to get any of it, if that makes sense. And that's what the bullseye
Right.
represents, focal point.
And I would recommend the people, the audience who are listening right now, or maybe they can you go through our podcast, go through David's book, Focal Point. That's a wonderful book, and I would like to read it chapter by chapter, chapter wise. It is packed with wisdom. You can see that they are photons of sagacity. I have to absorb them with the passage of time, and I have to put into practice. And if you can say do some activities over there. It's a wonderful book. We should go through that. David, my next question: what is the one shift that moves a person from knowing their purpose to actually running towards it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Okay. Because again, we have clarity and we know what the purpose is. The first thing that I see people failing at is they try to bite off more than they can chew. So, like for example, on our team, if somebody comes to be a runner, I'm not going to expect them to do what people that's been with me for years do. I always start them off with very minute tasks, and but I want to build the habit. I want to build the discipline. If for the first month, if I can get them just to get up and come to the practice, okay, I can be really light on them. But once they build that habit, once they build that commitment and the camaraderie with the team, I've always felt like if I could keep them 3 weeks, I would have them for 4 years of their high school experience. And honestly, that always rang true. And then I would gradually turn up the pressure, turn up the work, make them work harder. But once they formed the habit, once they said, I'm going to do this daily, then I increase the amount of work towards the goal.
Right. Honestly, I have just pondered one thing from your conversation. The idea I have, you can say, written over here: change your habits, change your future. Is it
Correct.
right?
That is perfect. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
right.
That is perfect. Change
And
your habits, change your future.
you make me feel this and right over here. Academic consistent action builds something deeper. As you can say, it's the thought that I have got from your book. What did 4 a.m. teach you that comfort never could?
Oh, that's absolutely a great question. Comfort, uh, I had a saying that I picked up somewhere, and I would love to quote the name, but basically said that comfort is an illusion of familiar things and familiar ways. Comfort is going to keep you right there. As I use the hamster wheel, it's going to keep you on the hamster wheel. And sometimes we confuse action for, or excuse me, we confuse, yeah, action for something meaningful. Okay, if you're on the hamster wheel, you're working, but you're not going to your purpose. And so we always talked about, get comfortable being uncomfortable. Again, our workouts on my team started at 5:45 a.m. It's dark. I want them to have to get out of bed, put 2 feet on the floor, and get to practice. Okay, that's not comfortable. That for a teenager, that is totally abnormal. And so, again, comfort is a wonderful place, but nothing grows there. It's when you get uncomfortable. It's when you are challenged. That's when you're going to grow.
It means when you put yourself into some challenge, you get something new, and that is you can say unique and different, and can help you in your future. That's right.
Yes.
And I think from this conversation, I have the idea that you are early riser.
That I'm a what?
Early riser. You get early
Yes.
as compared to the rest of the people. And at that hour, you are not just waking up early when you get early, and you are facing doubt, excuses, resistances, and when you face yourself daily, you begin to lead yourself.
Mhm.
My question is, in these quiet moments, unseen moments, what conversations you are having with yourself that keep you going?
Yeah. Well, there's two things. Obviously, my faith is one, and at the very top. But when you form habits and you consistently go to them, you know, over here in the states, everybody says, if a great sports person did something or whatever, they'll say he rose to the equation or to the occasion. I, I don't subscribe to that. Okay, I subscribe to you will sink to your lowest level of training and discipline when when you're really in the fire, whether it's you chasing your goal or you're uh, in a tough situation, your low needs to be enough. When the pressure really comes, then your discipline, habits, and courage are going to shine through. And I don't think it's a rise to any occasion. I think it's you're going to persevere because of the habits and the discipline you have uh, relied on for your life, so to speak.
But even I have a feel because I feel right now when we become so much disciplined, doesn't it sounds like too much mechanical?
Oh, yeah, no, it's a pleasure. Even now that I'm not coaching, for 42 years I coached athletes, and my alarm would go off at 4 a.m. Okay, now that I'm not coaching athletes, I don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. But over the course of time, my eyes pop open, and I've and I've still got things just like today, things that I want to accomplish, things that needs to get me because my goal has changed. Okay, my goal is to help everyone else achieve their goals, and my goal has changed. But I'm just as passionate about getting there, even and I'm not sure if I'm doing it right. Okay, but I know that's where I want to go, and if things mess up, I just learn from them. And then I do not stop. I'm going to keep marching as long as I can towards that goal.
Yes. Coach is always ahead of the things. I have planned the next question, but I think you have already responded to some extent. The question is discipline as identity. It is
Yes.
related to discipline as identity. My question
Yeah.
was that when did discipline stop feeling like effort and starts becoming your identity?
Oh, I can tell you, I really believe that I'll call it feeling comfortable in your own skin. It's when you take ownership of that discipline and and how you can help others. The key, one thing that uh, I didn't put it in this book, but it's going to be there. Like I said, we would work out at 5:45. I would make sure that I would be there before 5 so that I could stand at the door because I wanted to be the first thing those kids saw in the morning. And it wasn't the rough, tough coach. It was, I was always going to have a smile on my face, maybe a pat on the back, maybe a hug, and then a wave to the parent that, hey, I've got them. And that became my identity. And because I had them, all of a sudden the parents, the community would rally around that servant leadership. And it felt so good. I can't explain it that how my discipline and habits started rubbing off on the people in my charge. But not only that, it started rubbing off on the community at large. I had one principal uh, of my campus. He nicknamed me. There used to be a show in the United States called The Horse Whisperer, where this guy could take any horse and tame it immediately. And he called me the Kid Whisperer. And but it was just caring for them. It was just being, even though I was the leader, I wanted to serve their needs and what they needed.
I think my students need your guidance in such kind of things because it is wonderful. And what you are saying, you have experience and you have lived it. Not you are just telling, you have lived it. and it is a wonderful thing. I cannot feel such kind of things what you are sharing because I haven't experienced too much. A little bit maybe, but not too much. You are embodiment of all that things what you are sharing here. It's I am blessed that I have you on my podcast. David, my next question. A disciplined life is not just about what you do, it's about what you refuse to do sometimes. And
Yes.
every yes requires a no as well. What did you have to consistently say no to in order to stay aligned with your own focal point?
One of the well, I'm going to give you two examples. The first is I do wake up at 4 a.m. and to give my students the best version of me, I couldn't go to bed at midnight. And so, yes, there would be nighttime activities that I would like to go to or whatever, but I just drew a line that said, if it's happening after 8 p.m., I will not be there. And uh, that was one. And then the other was again when I got cancer, the targeted medicine I had to take would mess with your liver enzymes. Okay, and if you can't take it, that's bad. So I suddenly had to start researching what foods I could eat, and I didn't have a liver problem. I had a capacity problem. And so, okay, what's processed in the liver? Well, number one, I hate to tell everybody, was any sweet whatsoever. Uh, and so sugar was out the window. And I started, fried food was out the window. There were certain things that I had ate for years that I could no longer eat. And, but by the same token, those things weren't serving me to begin with. So, and when when they told me I was clear, the doctor asked me, said, David, what's the first thing you're going to eat? That you've deprived yourself for 3 years. And my answer was, I'm not going back. I'm staying right where I'm at because I feel better. I have, uh, test results of a 20-year-old. Why would I backslide? And why would I go to the backsider blues? So to this day, I still eat correctly, and I'm thankful that I got that lesson. Again, it was tough at first, but once I got that lesson, then it became part of me.
Right. Every decision shapes direction,
Yes,
and you decided at that moment. That was wonderful. And your consistency sometimes overcomes the motivation. The motivation rises and falls, but discipline remains all the time. And when
yes.
motivation fades, something else must, or you can say, the takeover. How do you continue showing up on the days when motivation was completely absent?
Yeah, the same thing I alluded to. And I would make sure that not only would I show up, but that they saw a consistent person, that they saw me smiling. They don't, that doesn't mean the absence of day to day problems that we all have. Okay. That means I'm just going to compartmentalize them. And I want to show up best for the people that I was serving. And that in and of itself, but you're correct. The motivation is not, I described it in my book as the zombie zone when you just feel like you're going through the motions. You're just there and you got to snap yourself out of it. And one thing I would do to myself, and I don't know that the kids ever figured it out, was when I really wasn't wanting to be that guy, I would go over the top with excitement. You know, I'd be smiling, slapping them on the back, yelling, "Let's go, let's have fun," and I would literally change my own mood. What would happen is I'd end up changing my own mood. And so, but the discipline, the commitment, and the habits also feed greatly into that.
Right. And what terms you have used right now? May you spell it for my audience, so if there are some other countries, you can get it, the idea what you are talking about.
I would spell out what? Excuse
Uh,
me.
the terms you have used at the beginning.
Oh, are you talking about the Pains framework, the uh, positive attitude in negative
Yes. Yes.
situations?
Oh, okay. It was, I think it was starting with some Z sound. I couldn't get it out at that moment.
Okay.
Okay.
The zombie zone.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yes, that's ZOMBIE. ZOMB, the zombie zone. And if
Yes.
you've ever watched those horror films, the kids understood it because you know how kids watch stuff, those of the
Okay.
Walking Dead, and you know, they're just clones. They're just, have no feeling, have no anything, no emotions. Uh, you're probably in the zombie zone, and you need
Yes.
to be shaken out of that.
Yes, yes. We you can talk a lot about discipline. When discipline is strong, but the road still feels uncertain because darkness doesn't stop the journey itself.
Yes. The one thing I would offer to people, Naseem, is when the darkness comes, generally fear is attached. Okay. And we really need to flip the paradigm of fear and think about it in a different way. If you are ever fearful, you have an opportunity to show courage. Okay. If you if you say, "Oh, I don't know if I can do that. I'm scared to try." Well, if you don't try, fear won. But if you tell yourself, this is an opportunity for me to show courage, that will give you that little nudge to push you over that decision of should I or should I not. Hey, if you fail, you fail. Big
Yes.
deal. Big deal. I failed, I don't know how many times, but you just keep pushing forward. You look up, you get up, and you go back to work.
Right. In that situation, you can say that and even adversities give us a chance to move ahead. And in every, you can say that dark element, dark situation that is related to, you can say the depression, fear, such kind of things. There's an opportunity for everyone to step ahead and move forward. That's a good
Yes,
idea. And everyone must, you can say the aware this situation because we face such kind of things in our daily life.
yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
if you see somebody else in that dark time, just go be a light to them. Help remove the darkness. You know, be light,
Yes.
and you're going to help that person because each and every one of us are going to experience it. And so, not only help yourself, I find when I help somebody else, I actually help myself.
When we have such kind of experience, we can understand others in a better way. You can
Yes,
say that we can empathize them and we can help and share them in a better way. That's a wonderful thing, and I think it's a leadership quality to, you can say, guide them, lead them to get out of such kind of situations, right?
absolutely.
There are some moments when nothing seems to move, when we stuck, no results, no recognition. And in those moments, continuing becomes a choice. What kept you moving when progress was invisible and results were delayed?
Yes. And I would like to tell the audience
Yes.
that is not the exception. That is the norm. It's going to start that way, where you think uh, things are going to happen right away. I make the analogy everybody wants microwave results. They want to be able to stick it in a microwave and be able to eat within 3 minutes. Okay. But that's not how it, if you really want to build something long lasting, it's going to be crock pot. It's going to take time. And you don't get the results that you want and you get discouraged. And how to keep moving forward in those times, I always try to imagine, uh, like in this new walk of my that I'm doing now. I didn't think I was getting results, but I kept pounding away because how close was I to getting results? You never know when you haven't experienced the result. What if you were like drilling a cave to open up on the other side of a mountain and you went miles with no result, yet you were only inches away from success? Keep pounding, keep uh, forging ahead, and know that those are going to start like that. Not some people. Everybody is not going to see results early on, but just keep hammering away. That's the norm.
Either results are visible or not, we should keep on.
Mm-hmm.
We should going on. They would sometimes we can say that we feel some emotional crisis that they are quite tough rather than physical challenges. The
Mm-hmm.
challenge is not always physical. It sometimes it's emotional.
Yes.
And resilience is built when emotions are unstable, but
Mm-hmm.
actions remain stable. My question is, how did you manage your emotions when journey felt overwhelming?
Yes. Okay. Absolutely great question. And uh, I like to look at it this way. Again, it's a little bit of discipline. You've got to change your mindset a little bit, but you you've got to be able to think with when your emotions have gotten away with you. You're not thinking with a clear mind. You're not making sound decisions. So you've got to put those things away and become immediately try to become solution oriented. Okay, boom, this horrible thing happened to me, or uh, I failed, or what, and you get frustrated and you get upset and you stare at what has happened. I suggest change the mindset to I need a solution to this problem. How am I going to get out of this situation? And when you turn that, even in my daily life, uh, uh, a quick story. The other day, y'all are going to laugh at me. I have a pond in my front yard, and I was mowing on what we call a zero turn mower, and it was wet. I wished I'd have queued it up for you. And my mower slid into the pond, okay, and got stuck, okay. Rather, my wife was amazed because she said, "What did you think when you knew you were going to run out of gas?" And she said, I told her, I said, I opened the clutch, I turned the motor off, and I made sure we were in neutral so it'd be easier to pull the mower out. And she said, "You were thinking that instead of, oh my gosh, what's going on?" And I said, "Yeah, it's kind of discipline. You know, okay, this is going to happen. This is bad.
Right.
What be solution oriented. And so I've tried to train myself that way, and it really, and it actually negates, it makes you feel better just because you're trying to work on a way out.
David, you are emblem of so many things. How can you can say that some person get all these things in, you can say one person, it will take a long, long time. I think whenever I have a question, there is another, you can say the idea, then another thing, then another feature. How can you can say a common man can add up in his personality so many things?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I just feel blessed. Naseem, I've, yeah, I've had a lot of bad things happen, as everybody has. I didn't corner the market on that. That's across. But I've learned through those, you know, the positive things that's happened in my life, I learned very little. It's the
Right.
negative, it's the failure. And if you turn that mindset to what can I learn from this, then you're helping yourself down the road. So, you say I have all these answers. Well, I'm getting older, it seems, and I failed a bunch. And so,
Right, right. So, okay, now we are moving from self to, you can see the others. That is a leadership quality. At some point, your journey becomes visible. People start to watching, and when others begin to observe, influence begins.
yes.
My question: at what point does personal discipline transform into leadership that influences others?
Okay, I believe that it's huge. I, like I said, I disciplined myself to show up every day in a good mood, whether I was or not. All right. I compartmentalized it. It was like, okay, when I get off, I will deal with this problem. Or when I'm out of this, I will deal with this problem. And when you discipline yourself, people are going, and you discipline yourself to serving them and caring for them, they are going to gravitate to you. And I guess what uh, I've learned is, am I the world's greatest coach? Nah. There's guys out there that knows, yes, I know my science. I know my anatomy, physiology, physics, and so forth of my sport. But I mean, that's what it is, science. Every other coach knows what I know. But if I make them feel, the people on my team feel like we truly are a team and I truly care. John Maxwell said nobody cares what you know until they know you care. And they buy in. They want to not only help you succeed or for themselves. They want to succeed for themselves, but not as much as they want to succeed for you. And the water lifts all boats. And so when we come to that situation, high tide's going to lift us, and we depend on it.
Right. It's a wonderful thing that you have shared. Leadership is not about the perfect moments, it's about honest ones. And people don't follow perfection, they follow authenticity.
Yes.
My question: how important is it for leaders to share their struggles rather than their success stories?
Yes. I I've spent a career sharing that uh, with people, you know, because I always try to give them if I ask someone to do something, I always want to share the why. And I also want to share, and 9 times out of 10, the why was me doing it wrong. Okay. You know, hey, I want you to do it this way because let me tell you what happened to me when I did it another way. and I failed, and I want you to succeed. And so when you frame it in that language, they're they're all ears. They're listening, and because when they know you want them to succeed, they'll do anything for
Right.
you. And so yes, you must share the failures. You must share the failures.
Right. And it's a wonderful thing that you share your voice, and it become a reason for someone else to follow in the same pattern and get success in another way. When you can say leader just share their success stories, sometimes people inspire themselves, but sometimes you can say get demotivated because they think they cannot get all these you can say things. They may consider leaders as blessed ones when
Yes,
just people like you they share their voice. It you can say the motivates them, they can follow the same pattern and they can get success in this way.
absolutely, absolutely. I can't tell you how many times I've loved not that they were champions in the sports arena, but when they went on in their lives and they persevered, doing great things. The other the other thing, Hasim, is I get wedding invitations all the time. My wife and I, we go to so many weddings because we are part of their family, and we want to celebrate with them. And uh, if they graduate college or if they get a promotion, we want to celebrate those things with them. And but that's what I get. People don't understand. They say, "Oh, you give so much." No, I get more than I give. As long as I keep giving, I know I'm going to be a recipient.
Right. David, we spent, you can say, the more than how 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and we were supposed to finish our podcast at 9 p.m. as we promised with our audience, but due to the failure of Robert, I started later, and I really apologize my audience as well. But we will meet the, you can say, our commitment. We will, you can say, finish it soon. And David, would you like to, you can say, share something other than these questions to my audience? I will share your LinkedIn and you can say, if you allow me, your
Oh
LinkedIn
yes.
and Facebook links after this session. And if someone want to get some coaching related to their life and business, you can contact David later on his, you can say, LinkedIn or Facebook profile.
Oh,
Sir, would you like
absolutely.
to share some message for the audience?
Well, uh, I think first off, I'm just so blessed to be here. But if I could share one thing with everybody, and that is you are capable of far more than you give yourself credit for. I've never had in 42 years somebody underperform what they thought they were capable of. They are capable of so much more. We sell ourselves short. And basically all I do as a coach is I I raise the bar for them. And I'm going to encourage them along their path that they are capable of far more. And in this season of my life, I want them to think of me as an outreached hand to grab hold and pull them to their goals. They're not my goals, they're your goals. They're the audience's goals. And I have found a way to help people achieve them. And a lot of times get them out of their shell and extend themselves farther than they ever dreamed they could. And I would just be so blessed if anybody, uh, my email is david.park@davidparkleadership.com. Reach out to me and let's have a conversation because I would be so honored and excited to help anyone on their journey.
Book me the first one. Later on, I will be, you can say, there are so many things. I will go through, you can say, a few chapters and give you feedback. And later on, when you have some time, we will plan in a different way.
Oh, I would love it. I would love every bit of it.
David, I have extracted some phrases you can from your book idea to wrap up my conversation. It's your material from where I have you can figure out such things at the end. I'm going to share right now. It's about our theme. Run the dream, face the dark, lead the way. Because leadership is not built in comfort, it's built in commitment, not in noise, but in discipline, not in moments, but in pattern. David, thank you for sharing not just for journey, but your truth. And to everyone watching, don't just listen. Apply, act, advance. This is Talks That Teach. Thank you very much.
Thank you.